LBC, Rick Anaya. Welcome to the podcast.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
LBC, how'd you get it? What does that mean?
Long Beach City.
Long Beach City.
That was my handle.
Well, I know it from the Trojan forums. You know, all LBC. So what were you... Explain what the Trojan forums are and how that LBC became a little bit of a brand for you. What is that?
Well, I'm an SC grad and season ticket holder for 20 years. And at the time, Pete Carroll, I was on the ESPN message boards, and my handle was LBC Trojan. I was living in Long Beach at the time, so hence the LBC, Long Beach City. And most recently, when I was researching YouTube channels, they have a live chat. This is more updated these days. And so I used that handle and had the opportunity to be a co-host on the USC Postgame live show on the Voice of College Football YouTube channel, Mark Rogers' YouTube channel. And so I used the name LBC Trojan. People started calling me in the chat LBC, and so I got a hat, and that's how it kind of came about.
Okay, so this is today. So call today what you want, but I will tell you that today, has it ever been more exciting to be alive than today? You can have your own show.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's nuts.
I mean, that is not the case yesterday.
No.
So you just said you were on the, you got a screenshot. Do that, Murph, can we do that split screen? Because we have it right there. So look at this right here. Tell me this is a video. This is a show. How many viewers on there? You had
a little over 6,000.
6,000. This was a live show that you guys did. Just set this up. Tell me who's running this show, what you're doing there. Oh, I love that hat, LBC. I love that. Do they call you LBC or do they call you Rick? What do they call you?
Some people call me LBC, some call me Rick.
Okay.
I answer to both.
Okay, well, I'll call you both.
Okay.
So what's going on here? Explain this.
So this was a very organic moment. We do a post-game show after every game, and there's three of us. You see, before this, the host is Tony Altamore. He's in Florida. He's an SC alum. And then Tim Prangley, who's not on camera right now, he's actually driving home to the Orange County area. He'll be on camera when he gets home, but we do a post-game show remotely. And I decided this game, because I had a feeling that USC was going to beat Notre Dame. This is a rivalry game. It's huge. And so I got a selfie stick, and I went live. We go live right after the game, like 5 minutes after. And so the gentleman you see with me, that's Jay Miley. He's also an SC alum, and he's got season seats. So he was loving it. We were loving it. And that's how we opened up the show that night. And we went for 3 hours, which was crazy, but we had so many people. We had over 250 people live on the show, because this was a big USC win, 38-27. This propelled Caleb Williams into the Heisman, favorite race.
Well,
and
this is right after the game. You're at the Coliseum.
Yes.
So hit play on that, just so we can see exactly what's going on. See that little button, play? So this is what happened. Go ahead, play. Yeah.
This was beautiful tonight. It was electric. The crowd was into it the whole night. You saw that, Tony. And Trojans left no doubt.
LBC, the whole country saw that tonight.
And, hey, Caleb Williams did it with his legs tonight, his leadership. And how about Austin Jones? He ran like a man. You take a look at the time of possession. This is what I was talking about, Tony, against Utah. We dominated the time of possession, and we ran the ball. And that was beautiful. We shoved it down their throats.
LBC, your fans are loving you. Live report is fired from Joe.
That's right. Security staff wants to kick me out, but they know they can't do that. Come on now.
You guys, by the way, notice how good LBC's seats are. It's good to be LBC, just in life.
Yeah, man.
Now he's up at the top. Hey, what's up, friend of the show, Jay Miley?
Jay Miley right here with me, baby. We're celebrating. Baby. We're going to the championship. Yeah. We'll be in Vegas. We're going to be in Vegas next week.
This is what I find interesting today. It used to be, I used to go to Coliseum games, and we would beat UCLA, hopefully.
Yeah.
One of my favorite things to do was to listen to the post-game show of the Bruins.
Yeah.
Because I like to hear the Bruins complain about all the things. It was more fun for me to. I would turn on the Bruins show.
Right.
The Bruins show.
I would do that too.
I got more enjoyment.
Yeah, right.
but this is really kind of replacing, or maybe not replacing, supplementing that. Because right after the game, you have 6,000 people listening to you and your host talk about the game. The difference is that you're live, you're right there, and people are interacting with you on this channel.
It was pretty amazing. That night was on fire because USC has been down for so long, so many problems. And then to beat a quality opponent on national TV where everybody could see it.
Right.
And there's a lot of haters that were on the show too because they want to see USC lose all year long. So it was great.
Kind of like what I did. I used to go to the other people's
There
channel.
you go.
And
Yeah,
just kind
right.
of listen. Right.
Yeah.
Well, it's just you love to get this different lens and perspective of people who are really there.
Yeah.
And it's fascinating.
But it's good to be hated again because USC
Wow.
wasn't even considered for a decade. So hated by many, loved by few. That's USC football.
Okay. So now you're kicking around doing this at a larger level.
Yeah.
And I got together with you. I said, "Why don't you come on down? I'm just really interested in, I want to watch this grow, and we might look back at this maybe 5-10 years from now and say, look at this is how it all started, because you kind of cut your teeth on, you feel a little blood in the mouth. You 6,000 people watching a post-game show.
No, it's pretty incredible, and it was great because this was the last game of the 2022 season.
Yeah.
It was the first year with Lincoln Riley. Right. At that point, USC finished the season 11-1. The only loss coming at Utah on a 1-point overtime controversial loss, but it was a loss. And then we're getting ready, as you saw in the video, getting ready to go to Vegas to play Utah again in the Pac-12 championship.
That was last year.
Yeah,
So this year, we're looking good. SC's looking good.
Yep.
And we got a Colorado game coming up. Now we know
One game at a time, though, Jason.
Well,
we
I
got
just want-
ASU first.
Well, I want to talk about. Well, ASU
Yeah.
is not going to be watched by nearly as many
No,
people.
no.
As well. Let's see. Well, if somehow Colorado can beat Oregon, which they still got to play the game,
Right.
But if they beat Oregon, the Colorado SC game will probably have Super Bowl-like viewers.
Yeah,
It really would.
yeah.
And so how does this work with these networks and NCAA and ESPN and Fox? How do they decide who and where to put this stuff on and what metrics they look at? So explain.
That's a great question because it is complicated.
It's very complicated.
To give you an idea,
Yeah.
so for instance, the Colorado game is going to be at 9 o'clock Pacific time, 10 o'clock Mountain time, and Fox has the game. So there are TV windows, okay, and so they have the big noon kickoff. So their first game is at 12 noon East Coast time. They have a 3:30 East Coast, and then they have like a 7 o'clock window, okay?
Yeah.
And then there is what's called a 10 o'clock or 10:30 window, which they also have. So they have 4 windows, okay, and starting as early as noon East Coast time, 9 o'clock Pacific. So because Colorado is so marketable, this is going to be the 5th time that they're going to be on national television because they're generating, upwards of over 8 million viewers, right? Because they just did on ESPN 9 million, and that was at a 7:30 Pacific kickoff time. That window,
Wait a minute. 9 million people watched the Colorado State game.
yes,
That is more people than watched Colorado football play the whole year last year.
yes, absolutely, right.
That's unbelievable.
Normally, the Pac-12 window last year averages between 1 to 1.2 million viewers at that 7:30 Pacific window.
Right.
So Fox had the first dibs.
Yep.
So they're like, okay, we're going to do Colorado USC. So there has to be approval. There's a Pac-12 rule that says that both schools, for competitive fairness, have to agree to any game earlier than 11 o'clock Pacific. USC agreed to it. They both did. So that's why the game is happening. They both agreed to it.
Well, it's good for both.
It's absolutely great for both.
Eyeballs is good for everybody.
This is great for college football because you're going to get to see Colorado and Deion Sanders host USC, Lincoln Riley, Caleb Williams. This is going to be Caleb Williams' first heavyweight fight. You know, back in the day, you had the WBC, you had the WBA, the IBF. You had all these factions that they avoided each other, right?
Yeah.
Kind of like the SEC avoids certain teams. They don't want to travel on the road. They call that tradition in the SEC. But you have the SEC, the Big 12, the Big 10, the ACC, and the Pac-12. They all, you know, they kind of do a dance and they'll play certain teams somewhere. SEC likes to play in Jerry World. Let's do it neutral. You know.
Yeah.
But anyhow, why I'm bringing this up is Caleb Williams, you know, he's not getting talked about much, even though he's a Heisman Trophy winner, because he hasn't played a full game yet. He's that good. USC's offense is that good. So he has a chance on a national stage to go head-to-head with Shedeur Sanders. And historically, USC is 15-0 against Colorado all time. This is going to be game number 16. This is going to be their Super Bowl. That crowd is going to be electric. And, you know, who knows the next time that USC is going to be playing Colorado, because it's going to be in different conferences.
Right.
Colorado going to the Big 12, USC going to the Big 10. So they could finish 16-0. And he's also going to be taking on other Heisman candidates. There's Sam Hartman. USC is going to get to go into South Bend a little bit later, October 14th. They're going to be hosting Washington on November 4th at the Coliseum, Michael Penix Jr., who's also a Heisman candidate. And the following week, by the way, they have to go to Eugene, Oregon, and play Bo Nix in Oregon. You've probably seen those billboards, Bodacious, up in Manhattan. So, hey, you take on all comers. How can you deny Caleb Williams another Heisman? This kid's driven. He's amazing.
Well, I don't know if it could be much more fun.
Yeah.
I mean, that is really remarkable that this is, I mean, it wasn't very long ago where we just couldn't wait for the season to be over. You know,
Right?
It's just, and the pain.
Yeah.
I mean, this is really, the Clay, well, I don't say anything bad about anybody, but there were some years there where we didn't win a lot of games.
No, absolutely. And it's great to see USC invested in the program. And the last, I guess, Lincoln Riley's been the coach now for 17 games, and it's been pretty remarkable.
Right. Well, I'm thankful you came in. It was fun to get the lowdown. I love the explanation of the windows. That was cool. I learned something today, so I appreciate that. We'll keep an eye on you. How do we keep track of you? What do we look for?
You can find me on Twitter at LBC Trojan. You can find me on the Voice of College Football. It's the USC channel. We do the USC Postgame live after every game. And we got a spin this year at the away games. For the away games, we are broadcasting live postgame from Tustin Brewing in Tustin, California.
That's cool.
So we're going to have former USC players that will be on the show at the beginning of the show and be there for, for as long as their schedule permits, at the watching the game. And so it's going to start this first Saturday against ASU. It's a 7:30 kickoff. Come down to Tustin Brewing. Check out your boy LBC and your Trojans. And we actually, I used to be a craft beer executive with New Belgium Brewing, Fat Tire, and Sam Adams. So USC and Stone Brewing sponsors USC Athletics. They just came out with earlier in August. It's called Fight On Pale Ale. Comes in a can and in the keg. So you can order your Fight On Pale Ale because Tustin Brewing agreed to bring it in the 16-ounce can. Nice. So watch your Trojans, drink a little Fight On Pale Ale.
Right. All right. We'll keep track of it and we'll fight on.
All right.
Thanks, Rick, for coming over.
Thanks, Jason.
I appreciate it.
Fight on, buddy.
All right. Bye.